Hello, friends. Welcome back to Saturday Evenings Posted Mostly with me, your host, Trevor Stewart 1308. And we are still waiting for the ASOC prod to show up. We have some stuff to talk about. We're gonna peek in on politics this week. There are hopefully a few videos that we're gonna watch and talk about. Um, oh look, there's the ASOC prod, and there's the peanut gallery. Hi guys.
Hello.
We are
Uh,
setting up a new microphone.
oh nice. You both sound pretty crisp.
That is good to hear.
You're a little quiet. So today we are going to start with a healthy and hearty handmade breakfast from the Kush Gang. 100 milligrams, a 100 milligram, I think it's honey bunches of oats or, uh, one of those granola and flake cluster cereals.
Hmm.
And, also 100 milligrams, 250 milligram, peanut butter cookies from the Kush Gang.
Okay.
Um, now, of course, today's pre-rolls are provided by the Hidden Leaf, uh, one of our sponsors. Our sponsors being the Hidden Leaf, Firehouse, and the Kush Gang. Um, Firehouse and the Kush Gang can be found at Frosty Fridays, private sales events, farmers markets, at the Hidden Leaf on the downtown mall, 105 West Main Street, Suite 200, above the bricks between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's, where the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. A great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds, hey bud? And they do have, in general, the lowest prices in town, at least according to my own highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my biased research. Note of disclosure, we will be talking politics today, and we are politically and socially opinionated people. Our sponsors, such as the Kush Gang, Firehouse, and the Hidden Leaf, are all businesses. Therefore, they don't necessarily have those kinds of opinions. Any opinions you hear expressed on this show belong to us and us alone. I think that's about all the high points on that there. That there, then there, a there, there.
I like that.
Mm, delicious.
Mm.
Mm, Hidden Leaf logo? It's right here.
I know. Just being stupid.
Oh, it
I
used
do that
its
rather well.
it used its Ninja Naruto camouflage to disappear. Mm.
Great.
I was waiting for that.
Well, friends, how are you guys doing?
Hmm.
I is alive.
Mhm.
I has a second cup of tea.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And microphone setup is going effectively, I guess.
As long as you can hear us, we're going to count it as success.
What? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I didn't have my glasses on.
Burgle, 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 burgle.
I deserved that.
Guten Morgen, wie geht's es du?
I'm sorry, I'm out of practice with my Simlish, or I would start a conversation that way.
Como se dice, what?
Bien.
Okay.
Qua?
No.
Niet.
All right, I'm going to quote the Fifth Element here. I only speak two languages, English and bad English.
Yo no hablo español. Yo hablo español muy, muy un poco.
I am unfortunately practiced with that statement, and people look at me like my head's been backwards when I say it to them, because apparently I don't have much of an accent when I say it.
Je ne peux pas parler français.
Oh, I used to know how to say that. What was it?
What? That's. I don't know how to speak French.
Yes, but I also used to know how to say "Where's the beef" in French, but I can't
Oh,
remember the word for where.
I wouldn't know. I don't know how to speak French. How would I know?
I do. French toast, French fries.
Omelet.
French
Let
stickler.
du fromage.
What?
Dexter's Laboratory. Omelette du fromage.
Huh.
And now back to your regularly scheduled political talk. Now that we've taken a tour of international languages.
Right?
Freedom fries.
Yes.
Mmm. Yeah. Freedom fries. Heck yes. Goodness gracious. That was both delicious and kind of weed flavored.
Well.
I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So, a lot hath gone on in the last couple of weeks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we are, I guess, now about 2 weeks into the new presidency. Uh, no one has. I was going to say no one's been hunted down and killed yet, but people have been being hunted down.
Yep.
And wherever law enforcement hunts down people, death is probably not far behind, so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say that. Our country has not devolved into massive civil war yet.
Yeah.
There are some, crazy things going on though. Mass deportations. There's one that's you know, there's one that's a bit of a shock, really. Like, I really didn't think he was gonna do it, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, And the fact that ICE has been going into schools
Hmm.
and hospitals, that people have been, you know, uh, distributing know your rights cards in the schools, hospitals, and other places, and it's upsetting and worrying
Yes.
for many reasons. Uh, One of the reasons that I don't like it is because schools, hospitals, churches are places where people should be safe. Just period. Their safety should be protected at all costs in those places.
Hmm.
No one gets to come into those places and take people out. Period. And I'm not a I ain't a I ain't a Christian, but Christian churches ought to be safe places.
Hmm. Uh, I've been seeing several different things on that topic. The one bit of consensus, or the two bits of consensus that I've come across have been, um, first, if you've got someone that you're worried about and you think someone's rolling up to your door and you are a business, send them to a part of the business that is not generally accessible to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and play by, if you don't have a warrant, you don't get to go to places in my business that are not generally accessible to the public.
And even if you do have a warrant, you only get to go to places that are covered in the warrant.
Exactly. So,
Um, keep them stuck to the letter of their warrants.
right.
Their warrants
Um,
have to say that they have the express right to come in and search everywhere and everything. They
mhm.
have to have these things stated. Um,
um, and along with that, if you are, say, running a school or a restaurant, and you normally have a special seating area in your kitchen that the public can access, remove that.
right.
Things like that. So that's the one thing that I've seen. The other one is a general calling for chaotic good Karens.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Chaotic good Karens.
If you wish to don your Karen wig and go be a Karen, the time to do it is when you see certain people rolling up, and come question them and be nosy and accuse them of being kidnappers and accuse them of um, being people there with ill intent, and wanting to call the police because you don't know this fan.
Right.
Um,
Um,
and that if you are a chaotic good Karen and are planning on doing that, if you happen to have um, just a chaotic grandmother that you wish to bring with you, so that once you're done, or while you're mid Karening, they can swoop in and do the grandmotherly thing of, oh, aren't you sweet people, and keep them off balance with the different poles, that's all to the better.
Good cop, bad Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Hit them with a good old sweet and sour.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Basically. So there's a rising call for that to happen.
It sounds like a sort of civil disobedience of a type.
Yes.
Um, and make it a nuisance for them as much
Mm-hmm.
as you can without. I mean,
Getting yourself hurt.
personally, yeah, without getting yourself hurt. Personally, I I don't officially condone doing something that will get yourself arrested, getting in their way to the point where you make them arrest you too. but I also don't not condone it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know. Given that I've got arrests on my file, that's an arrest I'd be proud to have on my file.
Fair enough.
Um, it was fun to see the GOP start to eat itself alive over the H-1B visa
Mm-hmm.
thing. You know, especially when uh, when Elon Roman salute Musk. Uh,
Let's not sugarcoat that one.
No.
yeah, that
Don't,
was a
don't
straight
give
up.
them
That was a straight up Heil Hitler. I mean, there's no. That was a
don't
Nazi salute.
Yes.
don't even jokingly give them the win on that one because
No,
they need to fucking understand it.
they need to own it and understand it, and you know, we know he's a Nazi. We know that he supports the AFD in Germany and that he's trying to buy them the next German election. Like, there's just no, you know,
Yeah.
we are gonna hate him anyway. Uh, we're gonna hate him anyway. So why doesn't he just own the fact that he's a Nazi?
Yes. Given the fact that apparently that particular word has become one can't type recently, people have been coming up with some very creative words to get their meaning across for that particular.
Yeah,
My favorite is one that manages to encompass both the original intent of the word, but also how people are currently acting when they see the word.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you elaborate on that?
Um, Notsee.
Ah, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. Like that, you get the actual meaning, but you also get the fact that people are currently not able to see past the end of their nose and see what's actually
Right.
happening.
That is, yeah, okay. That is cute. I like that. Uh, I'm gonna read this text that I just got because I think I agree with it.
You want me to just go ahead and say it?
I mean, if you want to own it, I wasn't gonna say that it was you.
So I will jokingly say that Trump is doing us a favor because he's trying to prevent people like himself and his cadre from being in this country, stopping H-1B visas, Musk and Ramaswamy, and ending birthright citizenship, Trump himself.
I wasn't gonna say that half jokingly. I was gonna say that with my whole face. I mean, seriously though, it does sort of feel like he's trying to protect us from more of his type of people. On the other hand, he's also trying to protect himself from other people who can do this better. But yeah, that hit close to home there. That was a little too on the nose. Feels
Mm-hmm.
like. Um, Those were both really good. That was a those were some really good peanut butter cookies,
Good to hear.
and that cereal bar was on point. I feel fed.
Oh,
Somehow a little high. Um, so it has been, yeah, we're just touching on the immigration problems at the moment. Not even
yeah.
the other stuff. So I think the flurry of executive orders that have come out
God
of.
Almighty.
The thing is, a lot of them don't hold any real uh, legal weight. They're just statements of intent.
The the biggest thing is he can't executive order something that goes contrary to what is currently and already written into law.
Right. You have to have an amendment to amend an amendment,
Hmm.
such as the 14th Amendment that he's tried. Was it the 14th or the 15th?
It, it,
15th
it
Amendment.
it's all of them, honestly.
It is. It is. Uh, and that's kind of what made me choose the video that I chose this week for us to watch.
Okay.
The Leisha Miller video that I chose, what is about how they took the Constitution off the website. They took the Constitution off the website.
Hmm.
What website? The Constitution website. So Legion Miller went through and read the Constitution and explained it. And I think it would be helpful for us to have that bit of information.
I think so
Um,
too.
did you choose a legal video for us to watch
Yeah, I threw two in the
in
in
the
the
chat?
general chat. Um,
Rule of executive order. Yep. Oh, that's
well, I,
the
no, I threw one in there. I didn't throw the other one. So that I looked at the other one. Was like, hey, we'll do this one first.
right.
So
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. I also threw an article about Trump administration purges websites across federal health agencies just because it feels like it fits in with the Trump
Mm,
purges stuff. Going through an FBI purge right now. They're just purging a lot of the agents who have ever investigated Trump. Um, they went through an inspectors general purge. Um, they are doing what they said they'd do in Project 2025, and they're purging right now. They're purging the government of people who they see as disloyal to them.
mm.
Um,
They're trying. Um the one I picked is going to be a good counterpoint to not just your video, but some of the things that are going to come up
all
purge
right.
wise and why their attempt to do certain things isn't going to work as they expect.
All right. Then
Um,
without further ado, let's watch something.
All right.
Oh, I need to.
Passing order after order claiming to promote the Constitution and protect the foundations of our country, the White House has removed its webpage dedicated to the actual foundation of this country, the Constitution. They claim they're just in the process of rebuilding the website, but I call their bluff. As I said in my last episode, Trump and his administration are doing everything they can to remove history and context from what they're doing, because an educated electorate is the worst threat to authoritarian rule. I'll try to do my best to provide whatever education I can over the next 4 years, but I think as a lawyer with a platform, the foundation of that has to start with our Constitution. An imperfect document written by imperfect men, but one that has managed to keep this country vaguely united and functioning for 250 years, and one that ensures some very basic and central protections that are currently being eroded by an administration that claims to love the Constitution. Prior to law school, I had never read the Constitution, so no shame if you haven't. This is my contribution, an editorialized reading of the U.S. Constitution in its entirety. I have no idea.
I don't know about other people, but I know that I have been. I know that I read the Constitution in high school. It was part of my high school curriculum.
I know I read it. I can't tell you what age I was, what grade I was supposed to have been in, but I remember reading it.
I think we went over it several times, like in several different years in high school. I remember more than once I was required to have a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the copy that the first year that they required me to have, the copy that I got, stayed valid through the,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I remember learning the Constitution being a pretty big part of several different high school classes. So I
True, but
was.
my question is the way civics is taught between when you were in middle and high school
Yeah.
and the way civics was taught,
Also,
let's say 20, 2010 era.
the way that civics is taught in public school versus how civics was and government was taught to me in private school.
Right.
You know, I had a much more, dare I say, DEI woke, uh, um, race critical, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, version of history taught to me. My version of history was, what I learned was actually very nuanced and very, you know, and wasn't, oh, white people were bad, but it certainly was like white people were bad, you know? Just, it was a nuanced take on why white people sucked, not,
Mm-hmm.
hi. You guys see this? This rottenness just climbs right up
Yeah.
into my arm. All right. So yeah, I felt the need to take a moment and point out that I'm coming at this. I'm still coming at this from a perspective that is not the general perspective.
How long this is going to take, but consider it your audiobook version with a few notes from me to provide additional context. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Thank you to my partner on today's video, Hungry Root. Hungry Root makes it super easy to eat healthy. They're like your personal shopper, taking care of grocery shopping by recommending healthy foods specific to your tastes, nutrition preferences, and health goals, and then delivering those foods straight to your door. I often feel very uninspired in the kitchen, and honestly, the last thing I want to do is spend time in a grocery store milling about trying to decide what to feed this old sack of bones. With Hungry Root, the problem is solved. They send me fresh ingredients and new recipes to use those ingredients in straight to my door. Sometimes it's barbecue, sometimes it's stir fry, sometimes it's some simple comfort food like this lemon pepper herb chicken with green beans and potatoes. Hungry Root sent me the fresh ingredients and the recipe, and I threw it together in under half an hour. Plus, it was delicious and so comforting with the cold weather that we're having in Minnesota right now. And their personalized recommendations get smarter as they learn more about what you like or don't love. There are great healthy options for the whole family, including smoothies, kids snacks, ready-to-eat meals, salad kits, and more. And now you can take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Click the link in the description or go to hungryroot.com and use code LEJA. That's 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life at hungryroot.com with code LEJA.
The ingredients, they're already proportioned.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more...
That sounds, helps you learn how to cook.
Right.
Thing is I know how to cook. And something that, one of the things I get joy out of is going shopping for the meal that I'm cooking. It's a kind of a very sort of European thing, but I really enjoy going to the shop and buying the veggies and the meat and the bread and all of that fresh that I'm going to use for that meal, and then doing it.
Yeah.
It has this whole, I don't know, feel connected, feel part of it, Lockpick! Howdy. You want to hop in the VC? Because I got some questions for you, buddy.
Uh-oh. Run, Lockpick.
Right? So, we are, Lockpick, we're watching... Okay. We're discussing politics today. And, who doggies? I want to talk about Canada. I want to talk about... Master Rasta! Good to see you, Master Rasta 420. Oh. 4 more seconds. Have to wait 4 more seconds before I can do a shout out.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. So, we are, the video that we're watching today, right now. Oh no, that's a minute and 4 seconds, not just 4 seconds. The video that we're watching right now is the U.S. Constitution. And I figure that'll be interesting for Lockpick and for Master Rasta, just because I don't know if you guys are that familiar with it. But I am curious about how Canadians feel about Trudeau's Trudeau's comebacks at Trump over the tariffs. I think, personally, I think that Canada and Mexico, 25% tariffs. China, 10%. The heck? Like, A, this whole thing's a bad idea, but why the 10% on China? Why not the additional 10%? Well, like, if you're gonna tariff our allies, why not tariff our enemies more? Like, that's the part where I'm lost. I mean, other than the whole thing being a bad idea. Like, what?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Get those magical Made in Canada stickers on our products again.
Okay, so I do like
those
that
beautiful
idea.
words, Made in Canada.
Made in Canada. I want Made in Canada stamped on the products I get, too. Especially on my donuts and bacon, damn it.
Oh, yes.
Why?
I can't wait till he puts tariffs across the board and suddenly you guys are paying fucking 25% more for that 60% of your fucking oil that you use that you get from Canada.
Right? Right? Although maybe Americans will start appreciating Canadian beer now if it costs a little more.
They won't.
Of course not. Just make good beer harder to get and more expensive.
Yeah.
Although not like that bothers me. I'm not drinking it anymore.
Well, if you're going to bring that up, I'm doing a shot.
Right on. Oh, Crown Royal. Crown Royal will start getting expensive.
Well, I think they make that in a few different places.
I'm sure they do, but it's... maybe they make it.
Where am I going to get my dice bags then?
Right? Our dice bags, our D&D dice bags are going to get really expensive.
Cheers.
Cheers!
There we go. Now I can handle this fucking politics talk.
Right? Yeah, these tariffs. But, okay, so my question for you, though, aside from the tariffs, how do you feel about Justin Trudeau's response? That was what...
Most of us are ignoring Trudeau because he's kind of on his way out the door.
Right.
He's literally already resigned. He's just kind of... We're paying about as much attention to him as you guys did to Biden when he stepped down and Kamala took over. You know, a lot of people, when he showed up for tea, I actually heard people saying, like, wait, is he still the president right now? And I'm like, don't worry. The whole world's paying about as much attention as you did. I don't know.
President? Holy crap. Right?
Didn't he quit?
Yeah. I felt like Trudeau's response was weak fish at best.
He can't really say too much, though, because he's representing a party, and he's like a figurehead that he already knows has lost the interest of the Canadians. Our politics aren't like yours. You guys voted for fucking Trump. We didn't vote for Trudeau. We voted for the Liberal Party, and they happen to have Trudeau as the leader of the Liberal Party.
Right. Your politics aren't like ours. You vote with your brains.
No. No. We've never elected anybody in. We've always elected people out.
I think
basically one party pisses us off so badly that we just kick them out and take whoever the fuck else is standing there. That's how our politics
works. You suck, you're next. Nope,
yeah,
you suck
that's
too,
exactly
you're
how it
next.
works.
Kind of like dating in Charlottesville.
And that's
you just
basically
why lose your turn.
That's why they kind of got, they convinced Trudeau to step down out of the party and put somebody else in, because so far the other party has kind of put in people that suck more than he does.
Right.
But he's lost interest from just about everybody.
There is an entire possibility that the other party could Find somebody who doesn't suck as much as Trudeau, and all of a sudden, the other party's starting to look better.
Yeah, they're trying and trying. The guy they've got in there right now, it's pretty unanimous. Everyone thinks he's going to be dangerous. So, but
Dangerous? What
yeah,
does that
Trudeau's.
matter?
Oh, he's Trump Jr.
We're
He's
all
literally Trump Light.
dangerous. They're all dangerous.
It's
Yeah.
true.
That oh no, Canada does not need a Trump Jr. They don't need a Trump Light. We don't need a Trump North. It's not a good look. I saw
No, it's
that
not.
coming. Picanita just knocked one of my jewelry boxes off of my dresser.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to find some diehard Trump fans. Not to
Yeah.
interrupt here, but I've been
Oh,
trying to
no, go
find
right
some
ahead.
diehard Trump fans who can listen to some of the things that have come out of his mouth in the last week and justify them as anything that is good for America or their image in the world.
Right.
I've been trying to find someone who can explain to me. It's like, okay, first off, congratulations on your really expensive insulin and your food prices not going down.
Right.
But what has he said in the last week that has actually improved anything in your country?
Right. Like, okay, so this mass deportation that's happening,
Yeah.
we're not going to have anybody to make food, pick food, process food, take care of the lands, you know, do any manual labor. We as a
Has he straight up started loading them onto trains yet and not telling you where they're going? Has he gotten to that point yet, or are we still a few weeks away from that?
so far it's planes and they know where they're going.
Okay, as long as they can be tracked.
Right.
If he starts putting people on trains, we need to worry. We need to start
Yeah.
preparing.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is he won't put them on trains. That's too much like public transportation.
Right.
Plus, there's probably nobody left to drive the trains because they're now a passenger.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, he's just I mean he is getting rid of the entire labor market for manual labor, for quote unquote unskilled labor. And
On the bright side, of that, at least you're like, you're let's say, southern bumpkins down in the States, little whitey that's so proud to be white. Now they've actually got incentive to finish high school and actually get a fucking job. So
right.
it might improve the population on some level.
Okay, so I yes, that could happen. The flaw in this reasoning is you're expecting a white American to not feel entitled.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to the grocery store and there's no food on the shelf, that entitlement is going to fall out of them so fast, you're going to swear they just downed a bottle of laxatives.
Gosh, I hope so. I hope so. I really do. It is. It's amazing how white Americans, especially men, have been sold the idea that the world exists for them.
Yep.
And that somehow they deserve it by virtue of the fact that they are white and men and in America. And
I just wonder how long it's going to take for them to figure out that the policy of getting rid of your workforce is going to do the exact opposite of his campaign promise of lowering food prices. He's literally engineering higher food prices right now,
he
and food scarcity potentially.
he is, which is making which means that all of his his cronies in industrial agriculture are gonna make money. You know, You think Monsanto and DeKalb and all of those places don't have I'm sorry, I
Clue? Is
just
that the word?
read
A
the
clue?
huh?
A clue? It's a clue. You want to say a clue, right?
A clue. Uh I got derailed by reading what you and Peanut Gallery were talking about in the yeah, they're okay. Industrial agricultural cronies making money off of higher prices. That's what it is. This is another attempt to force money upward in the system.
Well, for everyone's sake, I hope it works out I hope he's got some sort of a plan, or somebody in the scene's got some sort of a plan. But I don't know. I don't know. It looks like if he doesn't back up on something, you guys are going to have some serious problems soon. And the
Yeah,
rest of the world is looking at it and saying, you guys are asking for a problem here,
right.
and people are still jumping up and down and cheering it on. It's like, how? How can you guys not know the Did you not pay attention in the first day of high school when they mentioned what a dollar was? Like, come on.
Right. But see, again, that sets up really high standards for American schooling.
Well, part of the
Uh,
problem is Trump has never actually bought a thing in his life, at least
There's
not with
that.
his own.
There's
Everything
that
that he
too.
has bought, supposedly with his own money, has also got under, and he's blamed other people.
yep,
That's
Hmm.
the
yep.
thing, like, and that's what his supporters are gonna do. Is they're gonna blame other people. They're
Well,
not gonna see.
they already went from understanding that Biden is the reason we're paying so much for eggs. And then now that the egg prices are still going up, they're saying, well, the egg balance is a very expensive and very intricate little system, and the president really doesn't have any control over it. Like it's oh,
Right, but
doesn't matter what's going on. They're going to cheer behind him.
you MFers wanted to blame Biden and Harris for the price of your eggs. Oh my goodness.
My
So,
favorite,
and the
my
other,
favorite
uh, yes, your favorite.
was when what his press secretary jumped up there and started talking about how Biden ordered the slaughter of 100 million chickens and never said why, never brought up why they were slaughtered, not once.
They did
I
the
guess
same
it
thing
just
with pigs
flew over
too, I
their
think.
heads.
Yep.
Ha! Good one. Flew. Nice.
Do you guys have any good plans for the next civil war that's coming in the next year or two?
Uh, yeah, actually, I do. I've got a piece of relatively defensible land. Um, my structure is actually pretty hard. Um, I can the fact that most of the house has what's called diagonal sheathing, and it's true one by diagonal sheathing, means that it can withstand most small arms fire pretty easily. Um, I'm working on getting some solar hooked up so that when the electric grid goes down, I'll have power still. And I know how to garden. I know how to grow food. So, and I'm gonna be thanks to Kat, I'm learning how to shoot. So yeah, I'm ready.
I think I might have to just start designing me some armored drones,
Armored
Oh,
something
drones.
automated that'll walk. Just if it
Right.
detects something loud enough to be a gunshot within 50 meters of the house, it'll just deploy 19 drones to just drop as many grenades as they can carry.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And just hope it wasn't my neighbor starting his car and having it backfire. Because that's going to really, really, really ruin things with the homeowners association.
I mean, on the other hand, the homeowners association may ask you to sell your invention to them.
Right.
Can you expand that to 200 meters, please?
Could you just do
Sorry,
the
that's
whole
600 feet
neighborhood?
for you Americans out there.
Right,
No,
200 meters.
to target the homeowners association.
Right.
There's that.
I'm gonna put your HOA in an HOLE. I'm not a fan.
I think once you assault one of your neighbors with a massive amount of automated grenade launching drones, I don't think anyone's going to come to the door and complain about a thing. Actually, now that I think about it,
Yeah, no, I don't
mean-
think so. I think you've made your point at that point.
That would
do
definitely
you have a problem with what? My drones? These drones, you mean?
that would be the ultimate in the grumpy old man get off my lawn, you meddling kids technology.
Right.
I like the laser. I like the laser deployment across the lawn, like the high power laser that's like just above the height of the grass. Well, actually, I mean that's how you cut your grass is you just turn the lasers on.
There's a problem with saying that's the grumpy old man for getting off my lawn.
Huh?
Because all it does is spread them all over your lawn.
Yes, but now they're fertilizer and not trespassers.
That's the key to a healthy lawn right there.
There is a very fine line between trespasser and fertilizer. What's that line? Being alive.
That line is roughly the size of a potato.
Right. And they say us. They say that the U.S. us U.S. citizens are scary about our firearms.
No, Canadians are kind of known for being a little bit ruthless when it comes down to war. We're the ones who do the things that we don't like to talk about later. Historically speaking, we are pretty friggin' brutal when it comes down to defending our interests and defending ourselves. And
Right.
yeah.
It's why you want the Canadians on the peacekeeping force.
They don't break the rules. They're the reason the rules are made.
Yeah.
Canadians love their Geneva suggestions.
That's
That's messed up, Master Rasa. That is messed up. Geneva suggestions.
One friend that's up there near you, Lockpick, said, if it comes to X, Y, and Z happening, there are two ways that this could be handled. Canadians can either take the track of the whiskey war, or we can take the Geneva checklist.
Geneva checklist. Oh, that's even better.
I was like, thank you.
Oh,
thank you, my friend.
You think Syria knew it? You think Syria was bad? Oh, no. I've got some ideas.
That's the problem. There's always ideas that are not actually on the list yet.
See, the problem with Canada is, yes, you guys have got the military that could do it, but you might be able to take our cities. But most of our population is very spread out.
Right.
It's small towns, and there's tons of them. I mean, if I take a 10-minute drive from here, I can go through 5 different small towns, and almost every house has got a gun rack downstairs, because if anyone's got any farmland, or if they go out at night, you need it. Right. You need it. How do you secure 1 million little homesteads across a big-ass expanse where everybody's now angry and willing to just do what they want to do, and we know the territory?
It's not like... Yeah, and it's not like you guys have the guns because you're afraid of each other.
Oh no, we got them because we got all these angry moose that we have to deal with once in a while.
There's actual wildlife up there.
So Canada is just the American South with the wrong temperature setting.
Right.
Yeah, with a broken thermostat.
Yes. Well, yes, and the politeness is real, whereas in the South, it's not. When a Canadian is polite to you, they're really being nice to you. Whereas when a Southerner is being polite to you, they're telling you to go F yourself.
Pretty much.
I both resent and resemble that.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, screw you for being so nice and polite to me then. What the hell, man? What have I ever done to you?
Right? I'm not a normal Southerner. I'm not like other Southern girls.
No, you're not.
That's an understatement.
Uh,
I think we're going to have to
I
do
come
another
from
episode to unpack what you just said.
that's most of what this entire, series is about, is unpacking that. Just very slowly. No, I go to the I'm more of the New York way of communicating. The way a New Yorker the way a New Yorker says trust me is, hold on, let me drop this. I'm gonna need both of these. The way a New Yorker says trust me is fuck you. The way a New Yorker says fuck you is trust me.
Yes. We are polite to strangers. We are extra polite to enemies, and we are absolutely rude as all get out to our friends.
Pretty much.
That sounds fair.
Although Virginia nice is awful. I don't like Virginia nice. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Because a lot of times it combines both northern and southern niceness to be just
Cruel.
yeah.
It's cruel. Virginia nice is backhanded compliments with the
Oh
strength of
yes.
the strength of a full-on punch.
I thought
Yeah.
Virginia Nice was a type of gin.
They might actually have that, although the local one is named after a monkey.
Oh, Silverback.
But yeah, no, but it's not. It's, yeah, Silverback is the distillery, but they actually have their own gin.
Have you seen Trevor without a shirt on? That's named after him.
Yeah, kinda. I have a graveyard tan, so yeah, it's quite that's quite bright. It's like, oh God, it's like the lights are on.
The Beacons of Gondor calling.
Uh-huh. Yeah. My legs look at my back and go, "Dang man, you make us look like we got a tan." That went nowhere.
Yep. Cricket noises.
That was, yeah. All right.
Killed it, man.
All right.
Entirely cricket noise. It's more like
Even the crickets went to sleep.
The crickets were like, "Oh, dude, that was bad." So we should, if we're gonna learn about the American Constitution, we should keep going because.
yes, we should.
So lockpick, welcome to
Yes.
your primer on the American Constitution.
Oh Lord. Here we go.
So we're going through this. This Leisha Miller, this YouTuber, is reading out and explaining the Constitution because the government took the Constitution off the website.
Now, I'm going to state they took it off of the White House website. The Congress version is still there, still available.
Okay. So they're not
And
just
I
purging Constitution out of the internet
No.
yet.
So that I dropped a link for that in the chat.
Oh, thank you. That's good. Yeah, that's Wait, in the general chat or in the Twitch chat?
Place I put the video.
Let's go ahead and move this chat, or move this link over to, so that yes, there we go. If you guys want to see the Constitution that is up on the Congress website, there is a link to it. But yeah, why we're going through this is pardon me. The reason I want to go through this is the same reason she wanted to go through it, is because they are trying to take it down and amend it without anybody noticing. They're trying to change the rules. Much like the executive order that he tried to use to end birthright citizenship, which is unconstitutional to do. You can't just amend the Constitution with an executive order. We discussed with Trilhala how to amend the Constitution when she was here last giving us our civics lesson, and you need a supermajority in both houses of Congress in order for the president to sign in order for an amendment to the Constitution to go through, correct?
If I remember right.
Okay. A supermajority is 2/3 of the vote. 2/3 of the vote in Congress has to get any sort of, pretty much to get anything done in Congress, you need 2/3 of Congress to vote for it. The president can have, the president has special law making abilities around economics. Has that he has the ability to amend tax code, basically anything that has to do with taxes, with only a simple majority, only 50% in Congress, or 51%, I think, has to be over 50%. And both houses of Congress, that is possible right now. However, if something doesn't have to do with taxes, anything that has to do with money, it's pretty easy to connect it to taxes, although not absolute everything fits into that category. There was something that I remember, I think it was Clinton tried to do in his second term that they argued didn't have to. It was either Clinton or Obama tried to do second term. They argued didn't have to do with taxes, even though it was economic. Oh, it's part of why Obamacare is written the way it is. Right. The universal mandate. That's right. In any case, so all of this stuff that he's just, scribbling off and throwing into the wind, he can't, a lot of this stuff can't be done. And a lot of what he's trying to do extrajudicially, outside of the proscribed system for it happening.
But he's also well aware that most Americans don't keep up on how this stuff works.
Right.
So whatever he tries to do, he can sign whatever papers he wants or say whatever he wants to do. And then when it doesn't happen, everyone's going to be yelling and screaming about, oh, the woke agenda is trying to stop us from making America great.
Right.
They're not going to be looking at it and going, no, you've got a guy who's literally trying to change the rules or knows that it's not going to work.
And that's where people like us come in. That's where people like us have a job to do, and that's to continue to inform people that no, this is how this works. These are the rules. You know.
I don't think any of them are going to pay attention to that though. That's the issue that I really have a hard
they're
time
not.
wrapping my head around, is the fact that no matter what's going on, all the information is already there in front of people. I mean, we're in the day and age of the internet. We all carry all of human information is in our pocket at all times,
Right.
and nobody cares to even look at it.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, why an argument can be made for leftist propaganda. People are more likely to listen to propaganda than news.
Yeah, there's some merit to that.
You know? Those of us who are paying attention, those extraordinarily aware members of society, and I am, I've started saying that we're pundits here, not journalists. I will say this is probably more like selling propaganda than informing a nation. Even though we are informing them, we're trying to tell them about their rights when ICE shows up, and we're trying to inform them of what their constitution says, and it's more of I'm trying to do this in a way that grabs attention and makes my point.
Mm-hmm.
Makes our point.
Yeah.
We good, they bad. We smart, they not as smart.
Yeah.
I wish I could call them dumb, but I can't. But would that mean we would have to stop looking at cat videos and corn? No.
The internet, all the human information at our fingertips.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Cat videos and corn make up the human experience. Do not be fooled. They are integral to the human experience.
Ah. I see the link you put. I'm not touching that.
It's not always up, but it is actually a site that looks just like it's the obvious satire that it is.
Right.
But it's all pictures of corns. It's all the descriptions are like vulgar and disgusting, and it's all pictures of corn.
Vegetable, maize, not
Yeah.
the thing on feet that's like
actual like vegetable corn. It's usually not up because somebody keeps striking them down and making them take the site down, but then they keep getting it put back up because it's fair use for satire.
Right.
But yeah, it is a 1-to-1 remake of the website, only everything is pictures of corn, and the descriptions of all the videos are hilarious. When you finally see the video, you're like, oh my god, that's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
I.
And there's no age verification, so anyone can go there.
Oh, wow. I don't know how I feel about that. But do what you like, I guess. No, I'm not clicking on it.
I don't think it's up right now. It's one of those ones, I'll check it periodically. It's funny when it's up.
Oh,
it really is.
Gosh. Yeah. Back to the Constitution.
Honestly, at this point, just hit play, because if we try to do any more
Perfect union,
explanation,
establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the
You're
common
right.
defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. A note: the preamble establishes the who, what, and why of the Constitution. Who is it for? The people, which of course meant only landowning whites at the time. What is it? A constitution. Why? For all the reasons listed in the preamble. This is also known as the Establishment Clause. Article 1. Note, Article 1 establishes the legislative branch, i.e., the branch that creates legislation or laws and dictates the powers of Congress and the legislative process. Section 1. Congress. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Section 2. The House of Representatives. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained to the age of 25 years and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which he shall be chosen. Representatives and direct tax.
They have to live in the state they represent.
yep,
And this has come into play recently.
yeah.
Senators have been ousted because they didn't live there.
Mm-hmm.
Shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years, in such manner as they shall by law direct. Note, also known as the 3/5 Compromise, this language was amended by the 13th and 14th Amendments, which abolished slavery and established that population count would be determined by counting every person as a whole person. Groundbreaking.
Did you catch it
Yeah.
when she went through it the first time? Lockpick? The 3/5 rule, they were talking about slaves.
Mm-hmm.
I missed part of it because I got to keep muting and unmuting the stream. Is there any way to put the audio through Discord from the video?
Yeah, click
Yeah.
on
If
the
you
stream.
yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. Me. There we go. Now I'll hear it.
All right, we're gonna hop back, and I want you to see if you catch the very coded 3/5 language. Oops.
Of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which he shall be chosen. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years in
Wow.
3/5. They were saying black people were worth 3/5 of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like they wrote it into the Constitution, and they did it in such coded language. They even wrote in that bonded servitude didn't make you not a citizen or not not countable.
Unbelievable.
It is
Stay classy, America.
right.
Or are we going to stay classy? We never were.
Fair point.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't get any ideas, Lockpick. Almost spit my coffee out. Oh. Ah, right.
such manner as they shall by law direct. Note, also known as the Three-Fifths Compromise, this language was amended by the 13th and 14th Amendments, which abolished slavery and established that population count would be determined by counting every person as a whole person. Groundbreaking.
Right.
The number of representatives shall not exceed one for every 30,000, but each state shall have at least one representative, and until such enumeration shall be made, and then they list how many each state existing at the time will have. I'm not going to read them all because they no longer apply. When vacancies happen in the representation from any state, the executive authority thereof shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies. The House of Representatives shall choose their speaker and other officers, and shall have the sole power of impeachment. Note that final clause grants impeachment powers to the House of Representatives, but notice how the exact methods for choosing a speaker and for impeachment are not laid out explicitly. The U.S. Constitution is the shortest constitution of any modern democratic government in the world. Much of it was left up to the people to interpret and implement. Section 3, the Senate. The Senate of the United States shall be composed.
Also, notice, like, how little is written about how either House of Congress or the judiciary are supposed to really act.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's
Yep.
there's very little written in there in respect to the rules and the norms, any of that. But the section on the president is hella long. These guys were really worried about another king.
Yep.
They were afraid that the presidency would be like the ring of power, the one ring.
Mm-hmm.
Which would make Trump either Gollum or Boromir.
Gollum.
Yeah, he survived the getting shot.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. They only hit his ear. Allegedly.
Well, his ear's looking pretty good since, I mean, he's a pretty fast healer. That's all I'm going to say. A remarkably fast healer. Almost inhumanly fast healing.
Right.
Unbelievably fast at healing when it comes down to having part of his ears cut off. Just putting that out there.
Gollum.
He's the best healer ever. It's amazing. He's perfect. It's healing. It's the best ever.
He healed so good. People are like, some people are saying, you know, I can't believe how well you healed. It's just, you know, it's so good.
So good. So good. Can't believe it. You must be the best ever. Anyway.
It's healing so well, we're going to get sick of healing.
Ouch. Ouch. I hate that he's right. That they are winning enough that I'm sick of them winning.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election,
House of
they
Lords.
shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year, of the second class at the expiration of the fourth year, and of the third class at the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every second year. And if vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill such vacancies. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained the age of 30 years and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state for which he shall be chosen. Note, the first paragraph was amended by the 17th Amendment to provide that senators would be elected by direct popular election, i.e. by the people, instead of by the state legislature.
Now, you notice that there's a 5-year difference between being congressperson, a representative, and a senator. And I gotta wonder why. Why is it harder to be a senator than a member of the House? Is it because there are less senators, so each senator has more power? So they think that an extra 5 years would grant enough extra wisdom? At the time, I think the difference between 25 and 30 was the difference between, you know, being halfway through your life and being officially over the hill and old.
I mean, yeah, but no. Honestly, I'm thinking they're going for settled.
Okay.
They're going for settled and hopefully a little bit less hot-headed.
Okay.
Because this is also a time when meetings were settled with duels
Mm,
on the floor of the House of Representatives.
it's true.
When carrying your walking stick in to sit down for a meeting could be construed as either you're feeling a little off,
Or you're ready to
you
wrap
drank too
somebody
much
over the
last night,
skull.
or you're coming prepared to actually defend whatever bill you're planning on pushing through.
Yes. Early in our government, defending your bill meant you had to fight for it. Literally. Bare knuckle. Sometimes weapons.
It depended on the people that were participating. So yeah,
We are a violent lot of people.
we are. And we've tried really hard to do a lot of things to channel that tendency into other avenues, and some of those
What?
means have worked and
What?
some
Like third world nations?
Yeah.
no, that's one of the ones that didn't work so well.
Take your violence over into those places with sand and oil. Go be
Not
violent.
necessarily in that order.
Right?
Yeah,
Go be violent to them. You do notice that after Vietnam, America chose to get involved with places that weren't nearly as wet.
I mean, yes.
It's like, we never mind fighting in this swamp. Let's go fight in a desert for a while.
Yeah.
New strategy: make a list of countries with oil and beaches.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
The Vice President of the United States shall be President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they be equally divided. The Senate shall choose their other officers, and also a President pro tempore in the absence of the Vice President, or when he shall exercise the office of President of the United States. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. Note that the final two paragraphs lay out the process for impeachment. This is what happens after the House of Representatives formally impeaches someone. It provides that the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court will preside over the trial and that a 2/3 vote is required to remove from office. The final paragraph provides the punishment and notes that the impeached party may still be tried in traditional court as well. Section 4, elections. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations, except as to the places of choosing senators. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall be on the first Monday in December, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Note that the 20th Amendment changed that last
Pardon
clause
me.
to noon on the third day of
Okay.
January. Also note that the first paragraph of Section 4 is what those supporting the batshit independent state legislature theory point to claim that state legislatures get the final say in election results and can thus overturn elections if they want.
Right.
This was espoused strongly after the 2020 election, but the independent state legislature theory was done away with by the Supreme Court in 2023 in a case called Moore v. Harper. Section 5, Powers and Duties of Congress. Each house shall be the
She
judge
said
of the
duty.
elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business. But a smaller number may adjourn from day to day and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and, with the concurrence of 2/3, expel a member. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may in their judgment require secrecy. And the yeas and nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered on the journal. Neither house during the session of Congress shall, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that in which the two houses shall be sitting. Section
So that is interesting. One of the parts of that I think is really important for especially American democracy is this bit where she's talking about each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and you can basically saying they have to keep track of how Congress people vote,
Mhm.
so that so that you can know what your representatives are doing in Congress if they're voting the way you want them to.
Mhm.
That thing about secrecy where required was very broad, though. But
Yeah.
I think that's gotten done away with when in the 90s with the what I remember as being the Hillary Clinton campaign for transparency in government. I remember Hillary Clinton as First Lady had two big things on her plate. One was expanding health care, and the other was forcing transparency in government. Now that transparency at the time, boy, was I with her on it. Yes, make it transparent. I want to see how the sausage is made. I want to know what's going on. I no longer want to know.
Mhm.
I actually no, that's not true. I personally want to know. I don't think it is necessarily good for the process for there to be a whole lot of transparency, because what you've seen since then is uh, an increased amount of polarization. The fact that people have to disclose when they're working with the other side now, the fact that the public gets to know when a Republican deigns to work with a Democrat, and then that Republican gets called out and threatened by the base for working with the enemy and inevitably gets unelected. uh,
Or fired.
you fired. Um, yeah, that's, you know, it makes it so that there's no the desire to work with the other party is much smaller now because you can't
Mm-hmm.
do it in secret.
No.
Um, and that is a hard thing for me to admit. I like the idea that we should be able to state our allegiances openly, tell
Mm-hmm.
people who we're working with. You know, I think that bipartisan cooperation is a beautiful thing and should be celebrated, not punished. But
Honestly, the solution to that particular dilemma is to have more parties that you're working with.
yes, but then we need to redesign the whole system. And if we're going to redesign the whole system to include more parties, well, let's just redesign the whole system to design out systemic racism, systemic sexism, systemic cronyism, systemic nepotism, systemic. Uh, you get the picture.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we need a whole redesign anyway. But
exactly. I mean, it's you should be able to work with other people that are not in your specific friend group, your specific clique,
all right,
whatever. You should be able to do that without
caucus.
no, because they're treating it like high school. They're in their little friend groups and their little cliques.
Yes, that's how they pronounce click. Caucus.
And yeah, well, no, they don't get that. Anyway, you should be able to work with other people and not be penalized for it, especially if what you're working for is something that actually is benefiting the majority of the people you're trying to help.
Right. And
I mean,
and you shouldn't be penalized for helping people. You shouldn't be penalized for helping people that aren't necessarily your constituency. I
mhm,
see a lot of constituencies who are getting help, who are being helped by their, but get pissed off because someone else is also being helped.
exactly.
There is a saying from the 70s and earlier
Mhm.
that sort of that sums up this problem to me. Uh the saying goes, a white man would crap his pants just to make a black man smell it. White
We call that
people.
Tuesday night around here.
Master, you don't have to put up with him. You don't have to put up with that. Next time he craps his pants on a Tuesday night, leave him to deal with it.
Now, wait. My
I'm
question is,
trapped, send help!
where is Lockpick getting pants?
Hey, it's
I have
Sundays
one
that
pair of
they're.
pants that I call my crapping bag. It's,
Okay.
And that's what he wears on Tuesdays.
yeah.
That's why it's a Tuesday.
The rest of the week it hangs on the wall right behind where he sits.
Okay.
He saves it up all week just to let it out on Tuesday.
Monday night I call laxative chugging night, and then Tuesday, well, you know where that goes.
Uh-huh. I'll keep that in mind. That sounds very cleansing.
Without Monday night, I get performance anxiety.
I would imagine you would.
How? Oh God! Why did we end up here?
I mean,
She
we could
brought
maybe
me
do
in.
I
something later.
know, I know, I know. I asked for it. Master Rasta, I am so sorry. You are trapped. If I
Yep.
could send help, I would. I'm not allowed over the border just yet. I still have to apply for that special dispensation. I have to prove to the Canadian government that I will not drink and drive.
Fair
It's hard
enough.
to do up here.
Well, I think it's really easy to not drink and drive if I don't drink.
Yeah, but you'll be surrounded by Canadian beer.
Oh, I know. It will be very difficult. But you know what you guys also have?
Moose.
A lot of legalized herbs and spices.
That too. And bacon and donuts.
It's true. We do have those things.
I can
Yeah.
eat enough donuts that I don't need Canadian beer.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, yeah, I and I think that's gonna be my argument when I have to come visit you guys, when I have to convince them that I've been over 5 years dry from alcohol. And that's one of the things they say, oh, it's in your favor if it's been over 5 years that you haven't drank. And I think
Hmm.
the other thing that'll go in my favor is to say that I, replaced alcohol with donuts.
And bacon. Don't forget the bacon.
Uh, n- yeah, except the bacon's a constant. I didn't replace alcohol with bacon.
Yes,
I
but you're
don't
going to
eat
bring the
bacon
bacon back for me.
anymore or any less. Um, the bacon is, I I came for the donuts and bacon. It will be hard to be in Canada and not have Canadian beer, but I was able to go to England and not drink British beer. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
Car Carl Carl. Am I saying that right? The downward spiral started when we stopped sacrificing goats. Agreed. Agreed. Welcome to the chat, uh, Carl. Please tell me how to pronounce your name because I am feeling terrible, like I am like doing something awful to your name. Um,
Carl Air.
Yeah. Carl
is
Air, maybe?
I can't tell if that's an. I don't think it's an I. I think it's an L.
I mean, yeah, but then
The
there's
A's
there's
are
some
silent.
I like
there.
this guy.
I do too. My brain just skipped a gear. Curler. 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 So it's pronounced Bob. Thank you, Peanut Gallery.
Okay.
The A's are silent.
A's are silent. Thanks for clearing that up for us.
Ruler,
Cruller.
if we take out A's,
Cruller?
all right.
Like
We're
the.
going to need an actual phonetic pronunciation guide because we're just going to keep mangling this until either we give up. Well, no, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep mangling this until either the stream stops.
I think the Cruller Curler is enjoying watching us stumble over this.
But yeah.
Wait. Is Cruller Curler just a slur for a French Canadian?
Oui, monsieur.
That was not the response I was expecting from you, Lockpick.
I'm trying to be compassionate to the less fortunate in my country.
See, he's who we needed earlier when we went off on the language tangent because he'd have been very useful in answering how to say "Where's the beef" in French.
Oui, la
Yeah.
bouffe.
There we go.
Où est le bœuf? Où est le bœuf? Je ne peux pas français. So getting back to the American Constitution.
Oh, yes.
And 6. Rights and disabilities of members. The senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services, to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. They shall in all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and in going to and returning from the same. And for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the emoluments whereof shall have been increased during such time. And no person holding.
Before we got to the emoluments bit, oh gosh, that Shia just derailed me, of course. Before we got to the emoluments bit, she was saying, oh, dang it.
Section 6. Rights and disabilities of members.
Right.
The senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services, to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. They shall in all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses, and in going to and returning from the same. And for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. No.
Okay, so, for one, they are acknowledging that they do have this extra privilege of not being arrested for most things.
Mm-hmm.
Anything short of a felony.
Basically.
Or treason, specifically. Do we have non-felonious treason?
I don't believe so. I believe if it is labeled and acknowledged as treason, then that's that.
Okay. So I want to play a D&D bard who plays piano and trumpet, and used to be in a monastic order, but then got caught committing a heinous crime.
Mm-hmm.
A felonious monk.
Bingo!
senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the
D&D
United
jazz
States,
joke.
which shall have been created, or the emoluments whereof
Can't
shall
help
have
it.
been increased during such time. And no person holding any office under the United States shall be a member of either house during his continuance in office. Note that the second sentence in Section 6 assures that members of Congress can't be questioned in court or by the president for any speech or debate on the floor of the Senate or House. This includes defamation lawsuits. This is meant to ensure open and honest debate without fear of political or legal retribution. Also, the final clause of Section 6 ensures that no member of Congress can also serve on the president's cabinet, thereby reinforcing the separation of powers between legislative and executive branches. Section 7, legislative process. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it become a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve, he shall sign it, but if not, he shall return it, with his objections to that House in which it shall have originated, who shall enter the objections at large on their journal, and proceed to reconsider it. If, after such reconsideration, 2/3 of that House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent together with the objections to the other House, by which it shall likewise be reconsidered, and if approved by 2/3 of that House, it shall become a law. But in all such cases, the votes of both Houses shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the persons voting for and against the bill shall be entered on the journal of each House respectively. If any bill shall not be returned by the President within 10 days, Sundays excepted, after it shall have been presented to him, the same shall be a law.
Sundays accepted.
Jesus.
Right. These are the little things written into the Constitution that give those Christian nationalists that little bit of wiggle room that they keep thinking they have. And ow. I just read Peanut Gallery's comment. You were really jazzed for that tone.
Sorry about the typo.
I meant to put an I.
Ew, I should have seen that coming.
That means taking the blindfold off, though.
True.
Takes all the fun out of it.
For who? Both of us.
For somebody.
For somebody. I'd argue, but my mouth is full.
This is traumatizing. I need to fill up my coffee and do another shot.
Go for it. We'll kibitz for a minute while you do that before we go back to.
I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, okay.
I got this thing called wireless technology.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I don't, because I don't. The lag would be weird.
I'm not.
On
this one doesn't lag. It wasn't cheap, but this one doesn't lag.
Oh.
Nice.
What is it?
It's a Plantronics headset.
Oh.
One of the guys actually specifically recommended it because apparently it's really good for when I'm in the truck because the noise canceling. Like I can leave the window wide open and you don't hear it.
Ooh.
Oh, that is good. Okay. Plantronics. I'll have to look into that.
I think now they're HP. They got bought out by Poly, and then Poly got bought out by HP.
Okay.
So I think right now the brand name is Poly, but they used to be Plantronics.
Okay. I'm guessing it's one of those you get what you pay for sort of things.
Yeah, and this is just to kind of take us on a bit of a tangent. Plantronics, I got my head turned to them when my mom, way back when, was using the first text-to-speech and like screen reading technology to help some of her students. She was a special ed teacher. And the people who made Dragon Naturally Speaking actually said, for best results, get yourself a Plantronics headset. So we went looking, and then I realized that Plantronics makes most of your call center headsets because you can pack people in and you don't hear the guy talking beside you and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I've kind of been a fan ever since. A whole bunch of my headsets have all been from them, and then they got bought out, and they got bought out again, and Yeah, I kind of swear by them. I'm a bit of a fanboy.
At least Hewlett Packard doesn't have a history of trashing companies that they've bought.
Oh, they really improved it. Updating these things used to be a pain in the butt because you had to like get a special connector to connect into the computer, and then you had to go to their website and install a bunch of drivers, and so you had to be like sitting down on a computer attached to their website. Now there's like a program for your phone, for your whatever. I can change all the settings and like update the thing while I'm just like driving along or whatever. It takes 2 seconds. So HP actually made the experience even better for once.
Cheese and crackers. I mean, wow, they really did.
Mm.
I used to, okay, like HP was a household name for me for a long time. You know, my calculators were all HPs. Our first 8088 was an HP. Printers, we had several Hewlett Packard printers over the
They still make the
years.
best printers. They still make the best, hands down, the best printers.
Good to know. And I believe it. The printers were always like I personally never had any problems with any of the HP printers. They always seem to do really well. It
I
was
have a 20-year-old HP laser printer downstairs that still works just as good as it was new. Like the plastic is so old that I actually have to start gluing parts of it together because like the see-through parts that hold the tray are actually
right,
starting to degrade because of the UV light that they've experienced over the last two
right.
decades, and that thing still works just as good now as it did when it was brand new.
And it's that to me is amazing. Um Peanut Gallery says, "Well, they made good things because they channel all their evil into the printer ink division."
I only go laser. I like my toner. I'll take the powder over the liquid any day.
Printer ink, the most expensive substance on the planet.
Mm. Is it really?
It
I
is,
am.
and not even by a little bit.
Damn. Damn.
Unless you start comparing it to things like trying to get like antimatter and other things like that, like things within reason, things you can buy. It is the most expensive.
Okay. Things within reason, things you can buy. Okay. See that makes a bit more sense then.
Something you can commercially buy versus something that you have to manufacture. Printer
Yes,
ink is the most expensive substance on the planet.
There's got to be a way to undercut that market. Except they make all of their cartridges proprietary.
for
So,
now.
huh? For now.
For now.
For now. Soon as that proprietary cartridge crap goes out the window, though, somebody is going to undercut that market.
Oh no!
Somebody.
I ran out of cyan ink! I'm printing black and white, but I need that cyan!
Okay. If we don't get back to if we don't get back to this, we'll never get through it. I'm gonna speed this up so that we get there quicker because it is already. Playback speed.
I'm not even sorry.
in like manner as if he had signed it, unless the Congress by
I
their
know
agreement
you're
prevents
not.
its return, in which case it shall not be a law. Note to clarify, if the president doesn't sign a bill within 10 days, then it becomes a law automatically, unless Congress isn't in session, then it becomes a veto automatically. This is also known as the pocket veto. Every order, resolution,
Whoa, that was new on me. The pocket veto, the pocket law, that That is interesting. Oh, and I know you're not sorry, Lockpick. I'm not sorry either. This is good content.
Or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and House of Representatives according to the rules and limitations prescribed in the case of a bill. Section 8, Powers of Congress. A note on Section 8, this has seen much discussion and interpretation because it explicitly lays out the powers of Congress. Anything not on this list is left to the states. So Congress has tried to stretch these powers over the years. See, for example, McCulloch versus Maryland or NFIB versus Sebelius. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and within the Indian tribes. Note, that is the Commerce Clause. The Commerce Clause gives Congress the right to regulate interstate commerce. The commerce must cross state lines. Everything that happens only within a state is left to the power of that state. And there have been many arguments over what counts as commerce. To establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States, to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standards of weights and measures, to provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States, to establish post offices and post roads, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries, to constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court, to define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water, to raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years, to provide and maintain a navy, to make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces, to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions, to provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states, respectively, the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress, to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square, as may, by secession of particular states and the acceptance of Congress, become the seat of the government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which
All of that was military.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Effectively.
shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. And note, the necessary and proper clause gives Congress the right to make laws not specifically outlined in the Constitution, but that are necessary and proper for them to carry out their constitutional obligations. This is the constitutional source of most federal laws. Section 9, powers denied Congress. The migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. Note that this first clause is now obsolete and was designed to protect the slave trade from congressional intervention until 1808.
Ah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was like, wait, whoa. Is there actual immigration laws written into the Constitution? Like, why are we having fights over immigration laws if there are immigration laws written into the Constitution? Oh, slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So many problems with America. It's like, why are we having this problem? Oh, because we had slaves. Well, isn't that a case of we've did it to ourselves?
Oh, yes, definitely.
The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when, in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. Note that habeas corpus prevents the government from imprisoning individuals without judicial process. It was suspended in 1862 by President Lincoln at the start of the Civil War. No bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. Note that a bill of attainder is a law written to punish a specific person or group of people. An ex post facto law imposes criminal liability retroactively, meaning putting someone in prison for a crime that wasn't a crime when they committed it, but has since been deemed a crime. That's not allowed. No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid unless...
So, it's explicitly written into the Constitution that Trump can't make a law and then punish people for having broken that law in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that this is going to come up again soon.
I mean, it is. It is.
Let us put that on the bingo card.
I mean, if you want a very modern, very recent example, I've been kind of off and on following the Rust trial and what was going on with that whole thing in New Mexico.
Okay.
And a good example of this you can't charge them for something that wasn't a crime came up as part of the trial for oh, what's his name? Who's all butthurt? Huh?
Baldwin.
Baldwin. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Right.
During between the time that things happened and the time that they got around to finalizing charges on him, a law had been changed about negligence in the state of New
Right.
Mexico,
Right.
and
Because of
they
that. But
effectively
couldn't charge and they wanted to charge him, but they couldn't charge him with that.
they did charge him with that.
Oh.
They did charge him with
Yeah,
that.
he's on the opposite side of that one, where he's something that isn't a crime anymore is something he's being charged with, essentially.
Something that is a crime now.
That's a crime now.
But wasn't
Yeah.
when he did it.
Right.
Right.
So they charged him with that, and his lawyers are looking at this and going, "You can't do that." And they had to go back and go, "Okay, so this actually did come into effect,
right,
and was written into effect and finalized as a law after this point." And the person that was drawing up the charges was just going with what was currently on the books and didn't bother to go back 6 months.
And that's what happens when you let ChatGPT do all of your paralegal work for you.
Basically. So I
hate being on his side in this in any way. Like, I feel like he ought to just take the punishment like a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I don't think he was at fault really for anything,
I don't think he should take the fall, because then if you get somebody who's working and has, butts heads because, Christian Bale yelled at him while he was on set, then the next scene that Christian Bale has with a firearm is going to involve live ammunition that somebody else put in the gun just to get him in trouble.
That's true.
You're setting a dangerous precedence as soon as you say that he was liable for that, because there were so many people in between that should have made sure that didn't happen. It was their specific job to make sure that doesn't happen.
That is true.
And it happened.
And the specific person whose sole job was to make sure that didn't happen was the first one tried and convicted.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and it is that person's fault no matter what. Like, he can't.
100%.
Which is. Yeah. Well, them and whoever put the live ammo in the gun.
Which was her, because she was the one loading it.
Who handed. Why did. Never mind. I'm not going down this rabbit hole. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's a whole nother thing. But that's
a mystery that I don't need to solve.
That's a very recent example of how that particular thing written into the Constitution has come into play.
I think that that's a great. I think that that clause is really important. I do think that that is great, especially because if local laws around marijuana change, I don't want to be liable for what I was doing when it was legal. I mean, legal. You know, it's. I'd hate to get arrested for this now, even though I'd hate to get arrested for this later, even though it's legal now.
I mean, it's also why we've got so many properties in the area that are able to operate without structural changes. It's because they were
Grandfather
grandfathered in.
clause. Right.
Yep. This was in existence first, so we can't make fine you for it being wrong.
This is why Abrogado had to close.
Mm-hmm.
So, they had during the corona shutdown, they had a compressor leak in
Mm-hmm.
one of their refrigeration units, and it caused some mold, and they had to get
Mm-hmm.
mold remediation. But when the mold remediation people came in and opened up the floor, they realized, like, most of the floor joists are missing. There is no structural integrity to the floor of that building, or was. There's no floor to that building anymore. There was
I mean, you
nothing holding up the floor except for apparently a wish and a prayer.
and probably some 60-year-old bubble gum.
Probably. Or longer. It must have been longer. Must have been longer. And it just, because and because of that, uh, both the restaurant and the pie shop had to close.
So there was about as much structural integrity to that restaurant as there is moral integrity to the Trump administration.
Yep. Um, which is amazing because it stayed up for so long. Now, okay, so
Probably more structural integrity to that building than the administration.
yeah, so the the guy who owned it, one of the owners. There were three owners. Um, two of them were family.
Mm.
Uh, one of them, they were husband and wife. He he passed away recently. He's the uncle who chose to uh,
Mm-hmm.
leave the Minecraft server
Right.
by stopping eating and drinking.
Right.
Um, what a difficult way to go. Uh, so he, out of all of the buildings that my father designed and built and had a hand in building on the farm, I do believe this man destroyed a good portion of most of them. And one of them, the kitchen and dining complex building named Jankoya, they blamed Rob for breaking the floor of Jankoya because he danced too hard.
That's a wonderful thing.
I highly amusing to me. My father, on the other hand, did not. He didn't feel so great about it.
Well, I mean,
It upset him because his name was bandied about for being responsible for the floor failure. Now we'd left the farm at this point, but and what my father always pointed out was they made structural they made budget cuts that affected structural aspects that I told them not to make. So it's their fault, not mine.
yeah, that sounds very much like an architect slash engineer.
Yep. Of course, then the other building that Robbie Dobby burnt down He okay, not the other one that he burnt down, the other one that he broke, the one that he burnt down. They claimed was hit by lightning. But Rob remembers leaving a cigar burning next to a pile of oily rags.
I mean,
And it was a building for varnishing wood.
so it could be that they mean it was hit by a lightning stroke of
So,
negligence.
yeah. Like,
And it ended up varnishing overnight.
Yeah, it varnished overnight.
varnished.
That's a good one.
I'm choking on that laughter. Ow.
What we see.
Ow, that hurt. I. Yeah. So. Not entirely sure where that tangent was going, but. Oh, yeah, broken floors.
Right.
The floor of his restaurant didn't exist, but somehow he didn't manage to break the floor of his restaurant. However, my dad's building, oh, he danced just a little too hard, fell right through the floor.
Honestly, that's just more vindication for your dad saying, "See, I told them so."
Right?
Plus,
I,
they didn't give him the 60-year-old bubble gum. That's what happened. They said no bubble gum for you.
right? You only get the baseball cards, we keep the bubble gum. What?
They
What
gave
was
him
that?
Bubba Gum and Bazooka Joe.
Wrong brand of bubble gum.
Yes.
Bubble tape.
Uh,
They gave him bubble tape and not Bazooka Joe.
oh, what was what? Okay, so blackjack, and I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what the other gum was named. Blackjack was licorice flavored gum, and the other one was clove flavored, and they
Mm-hmm.
were my favorites.
Mm.
Uh, Lockpick, does Canada have different type of chewing gum than America?
I'm assuming so. We've got like you go down our candy aisles and they don't look anything like yours.
What
Like
kind of
nothing like yours.
what's your favorite gum?
I don't really like gum. Even
Interesting.
as a kid, my teeth really couldn't handle it, and it's even worse now.
Uh,
I never really got into the whole thing. My problem is if I'm going to start chewing on something, I'm going to want to swallow it and eat more because I like to actually eat food, not just aimlessly chew on things,
Yeah,
yeah,
unless it knows my name and calls me daddy.
yeah, I was waiting for it.
of course.
It's gonna be like, wow, if you're interested in swallowing,
Yeah, I never really got into the whole gum thing.
okay, okay. I didn't want to as a child, but uh, I my mom was not wild about candy. She wasn't wild about the idea of me having candy. And really, there wasn't a lot of candy to be had up until we left the farm. Um, it was easier to talk my parent when I, especially when we were on the farm. It was easier to talk my parents into sugar-free gum than it
Uh-huh.
was any sort of candy. So, even though I wasn't big into gum, it was sort of like, well, it's what I can get, so it's what I'll take. But then those two specific flavors, black licorice and clove. I really and violet flavored gum. I really liked. Those are my favorite flavors of gum.
Okay.
Obviously, I can't be, normal. Can't be like mint, cinnamon, juicy fruit.
Sassafras.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
sassafras. Yeah.
ginger.
Sassafras and ginger gum. That sounds really good. All right. Let us get back to the constant. You know what, though? Let us do a little bit more of this. Find a good breaking point, and come back to it next week.
Yeah.
Um, because this is taking a while. And it's almost 2 o'clock here.
In proportion to the
it's
census
not
or
like we're
enumeration
not.
herein before directed to be taken. No tax or duty
It's not like,
It's not like we're not derailing it at every single possible opportunity.
right, right.
And it's not just lockpick. It's not just lockpick. All of us are doing it.
We really are. Yes. Our weekly constitutional, where we crap on the government
and
But
other
not on
things.
TV.
and other things. That's going to be the title of the video when I take it to YouTube. It's going to be
Yeah.
Saturday morning
SEPmp.
X-Lax.
No, yeah, that's next week. Saturday morning X-Lax. This one is weekly constitutional ? Next week's episode is weekly X-Lax. All right.
duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. No preference shall be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another. Nor shall vessels bound to or from one state be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties in another. No money shall be drawn from the treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. Note that this is why the legislature has to pass appropriations bills before any federal money can be spent. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, accept of any present, emolument, office, or title of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state. Section 10. Powers denied to the states. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin, a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. No state shall, without the consent of the Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection laws. And the net price of all duties and imposts laid by any state on imports or exports shall be for the use of the Treasury of the United States, and all such laws shall be subject to the revision and control of the Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state or with a foreign power, or engage in war unless actually invaded or in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. Note that the list of things the states can't do is relatively short and mainly focuses on things that are within the federal government's power. The clause that gets argued over the most here is surprisingly the one about, quote, law impairing the obligation of contracts. Rich people were really freaked out about the state coming in and nullifying their contracts, especially for the
Okay. It's the last one that he's leaning on it's the last one that DeSantis and Texas governor, what's his nuts? It's that they're leaning on for sending trying to send troops to the border.
Mm-hmm.
Trying and yeah, it's the invasion. They're claiming it's an invasion.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting other stuff going on there uh, about what the states can't do. I think that I'd like to come back and look at some point,
Right.
but uh, it would have to be a much more, dare I say, educated version of me doing the looking.
Right.
So,
Well, as we go looking at things and go picking them up, we'll get more educated. We just put a pin in it and say, okay, we've done these things. Now is the time to go back and look again.
right. All right.
The debts owed to them. So that's why it was argued over the most. Article 2. Note that Article 2 establishes the executive branch. This includes the president and everything the president resides over, like agencies, the cabinet, etc. Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in a president.
Do we want to go through this article? Or do we want to call it here? This is a biggie.
I would say, since it is already 2, that this is where we call it.
Okay.
And we start next week with that, and maybe we finish her video, we go through mine, which is a little bit quicker.
Okay.
Because hers is how long?
It is 50 some minutes. It's 54 minutes, 55 minutes, a little under an hour. I put it on on like 1.3 something.
Yeah. Well,
just Pink Floyd crap. We don't need no education. Oh yes, you do. That's a double negative. Right. So
yeah,
we'll pick up
I
with
would say,
section 2. We'll pick up with Article 2, the presidential powers, next week. On Saturday X-Lax.
yeah.
And yeah. I'd say I hope this makes everybody feel better, but like this more felt like nightmare fuel.
Well,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Lockpick, do you feel you have picked up a better understanding of how stupid we are as a nation?
I think, yeah, that's the polite way to put it. We've been sitting up here quietly watching for a long time. Nothing happening in your country right now is shocking us.
I'm
No.
sure
We're always
it
like,
is
oh,
not.
we're at this stage now. It's not like what's going on. We're like, okay, this is okay. Check it off on the timeline. Okay, this is where we are now. Cool.
I saw that coming. I feel like you guys are kind of like the Vulcans of Star Trek Discovery, or Star Trek Enterprise. I mean, the sort of very distant, like, nah, we're gonna let you mess this up for a while. Like, we know you're not ready for space travel like that.
We'll keep an eye on you, and we'll come and check in on season 2. See if we're ready.
Right.
Right.
Well, all right. I guess this is where we leave it.
Yep.
Please, Lockpick, join us next week for the next episode, so that you can see what Trump is doing that he's not supposed to be doing. Like
and there's a whole week to go. I can't wait to see what he pulls out of his butt next.
Oh my
God.
goodness. Yeah. I am both terrified and can't look away. It's like watching a plane get hit by a helicopter while I am in a boat underneath of them. It's like, oh, I'm gonna die from this, but this is such a tragic wreck and so interesting that I just can't look away. I see my own destruction coming, but this is like the coolest thing I will ever see
You said
until
you
I
can't
die.
wait to see what he'll pull out of his ass next, but if he pulled it out of his ass, it would be cleaner and more intelligible than the other end.
That's a really good point.
It's a really painful point. I mean, yeah, if there are points back there, it's gonna be painful.
But
Well, all right. So, yes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Lockpick. My future ex-husband. Thank you, Master Rasta, for being in the chat. My future ex-husband-in-law. I'm gonna enjoy calling him that now. Curler, thank you for being here. Appreciate you showing up and chatting. Is that everybody?
I think so.
That is everybody.
I think so.
Thank you all for being here, and now is the time on the show when I say, as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all. Wait, also, get ready to clip this. And so the gnome said, I got your present right here. Bend over. This'll be fun. Rectum. Damn near killed him.